All right, in this video, I'm going to go over some of the algebra skills needed for the beginning of the year for AP Calculus. This will be part one of the video series, and we're going to start out with some factoring. So in the first problem here, we have x squared minus 25, so we want to recognize this as a difference of squares. So this is going to be x minus 5 times x plus 5. All right. So the second problem, we have 2x squared minus x minus 3. So in this case here, I'm going to use slide and divide. So I'm going to take the 2 and I'm going to multiply it by the negative 3. So I would get x squared minus x minus 6. And then I would factor this, which would be x minus 3 times x plus 2. And then the divide now, since I slid it and multiplied by the 2, I'm going to have to divide this by 2. And then what we would get is, if we simplified that, we would get 2x minus 3 times the quantity x plus 1. And then we can test this to make sure we have the correct answer, and that is correct there. Okay, x cubed minus 125. So this is a difference of cubes for this one. So if we want to let a equal the cube root of x cubed, which is x, and we want to let b equal the cube root of 125, which is 5. So I like to use what's called SOAP here. So this is just a little acronym for same, opposite, always, positive for the last term. So in this case here, this would be x minus 5. So what we're doing is we're using a minus b times a squared plus ab, and then always positive, plus b squared. So we're doing same for s, opposite for the middle term, and then always positive for the last term. So we would get x minus 5 times x squared, and its opposite. So we would get plus a times b, which is 5x, and then always positive would be 25. All right, so now the sum of cubes, we're just going to do the same thing here. We're going to use SOAP. So this would be x plus 5 times x squared. Now it becomes opposite, so it'd be minus 5x plus 25. Okay? All right. So let's scroll down. All right, so now we have difference quotient. So difference quotient is going to be important when we start to learn to factor or do the definition of the derivative. All right, so what we're doing is we're figuring out what f of x plus h is. So we're going to sub in x plus h into our function. So we'd get 2 times x plus h plus 1. So we would get 2x plus 2h plus 1 as our answer. And we will do more with this when we do the definition of the derivative, but this is just a practice that we're going to do to get you started here. Okay, a little more complicated now. Now we're going to do g of x plus h in the next one. So that means we have to plug in x plus h everywhere we see an x plus 1. So this would be x squared plus 2xh plus h squared minus 2x minus 2h when we distribute plus 1. And then we want to combine like terms here. So we would get, do we have any like terms? It doesn't look like we have any like terms here, so we would be done with that one. Okay. So let's move on to the next one. So problem 7, when we do problem 7 here, these are some factorings that you may not have seen in, let's say, pre-calc or algebra 2 that's going to pop up in the AP Calc. So we have 5 minus x divided by x squared minus 25. So when we're going to do this now, we're going to factor the bottom. It's a difference of squares, so we would get 5 minus x divided by the difference of squares would be x minus 5 times x plus 5. So we want to recognize here that 5 minus x divided by x minus 5 are actually opposites. So when you have a binomial that's flipped, when you divide, you get -1. So this would come out to be -1 over x plus h. All right, so the next one, this would be another factoring that you may not have seen, but it may pop up on the AP Calc. We have root x minus 5 divided by x minus 25. And well, what a lot of students don't realize is that we can actually split up the denominator as root x minus 5 times root x plus 5, kind of like treating it like a difference of squares. And now we can factor out, or we can divide out root x minus 5 divided by root x minus 5, and we would get 1 over root x plus 5. Okay? All right, so that would be part 1 of what you may need to practice going into the beginning of the year for AP Calculus Chapter 1, doing limits and learning the beginning of techniques with the derivative. Thanks for watching. Please like and subscribe.